Okay, well, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre. Well, it seemed like to take forever. I started the stream like a minute and a half ago, and it took a minute and a half to actually start streaming. First time it's ever done that. But anyways, it's a very capricious system, I guess. But anyways, I hope you're all doing okay. I know that I am. And you know what? Like usual, we're going to go over to the computer. We're going to check out what we did yesterday, and then we're going to start our day from there. So what did we do yesterday? Well, in fact, it was kind of boring at first because we started off by putting a second coat on the plants that we did the day before. So we put a second coat of the red, second coat of the green, and then at the end we added these little squiggles to add another type of plant. So that is basically what we did yesterday. And today we are going to continue by, first we're going to start off by adding a little more plants. Then we're going to add details to the plants that we did. And then we're going to finish off again with adding more plants if we have time to do that today. So let's not waste any time. What I would like to do is add some of these dark red leaves right in here and right in here. Just a few more leaves. I'm going to do that right away. Like that, it'll have time to dry. And by the time we finish all the rest, maybe I'll be able to put a second coat, which would avoid us waiting till tomorrow to do that. So let's get right to it. I have my red paint right here from day before yesterday and yesterday. So I'm not going to need that much. I'm going to put that in right now. Going to get a brush and have that soak so it's ready to go in a few seconds. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of water to get this paint to be the right kind of texture so it glides on the way it should. I'm going to add a little more paint. I guess I'm a little stingy there. There we go. And I guess we can actually even do this on camera number 1 together. I'll just come over here. I mean, it's not really rocket science, as you can imagine. So there's our glob of red paint, and I'm just going to bring water. Let me pull the camera back and just bring this over a little bit here. I do have a jar of water right here that make life so much easier. And apparently a paintbrush from yesterday that I forgot to wash last night. There we go. Let's just blend this in because when it's the right texture, when it's the right consistency, the paint just glides on so much easier, you have so much more control of it over it. And we're just about there. I think maybe I could use one drop more. There we go. We don't have that many leaves, maybe 3 on one side and 3 or 4 on the other. So, and it is just the first coat. So there we go. So let me pull the camera back again and we'll bring it up. And I guess I'll start right here where this dude is. I'll pull this up, zoom in a little bit. We're going to want to do this in front of his, I guess, right in that area there. And I'm going to start off right here. You see when the paint is the right consistency, how easily it just goes on the canvas, just beautiful. Just goes exactly where and how you want it to go. Wonderful. There we go. Let's just have one right here like that. Doesn't have to be that close because there will be a black outline around my mask. So there we go. And then I'm just going to put one or two right in here. Let's go like this. Maybe one right here. And let's have him just go beyond like that. Wow, a lot of construction work going in the street, making a lot of noise. Now I know I could use a noise gate on my OBS Streamlabs to quiet the noise in the street, but to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy having the sound of the streets and what's happening, because the whole point of the stream is basically to share everything that goes on in the studio. And that includes all the noise that can go along with it. So then I'm just going to add a few more leaves right in this area here, right there. And let's just bring one down all the way down here. Just like that. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. How about one over here? Very good. This white border will be eventually all in black when we get time to add our details to our little window into space. There we go. Just like that. Let me pull the camera back so we can move everything back so we can have a view from afar. There we go. Okay. So we got that part done. Very nice. And now we can tackle the details of our plant. So let me just step back and take a look and see how I'm going to start this. Where do we go here? So let's start off with the purple. I guess we can start off with the purple, then we can do the green. And then I would like to tackle this kind of weird plant, which I have no idea what it's going to look like or what I'm going to do. So I'm a little anxious about that. But we'll worry about that when it's time to get there. So I'll get my palette out. I'll get my white paint. I'm just going to put the details on this purple with light purple first. Then there will be a black outline anyways that will add to the details as we go along. But for now, bing, bong, bong. Here's the purple. So I'll add A little purple there. There we go. That should be enough. There won't be that much of a surface to paint, so I won't need tons of paint. Let me just rinse off this my knife so I don't get any purple in the white. There. Got all this done. Got the white paint there. How much am I going to need, really? Let's start off with this. If I need more, I can add more later. No big deal. And for this, I will go over to the other camera and we can blend in these colors together. Again, you don't have to be a chemist to do that. All you have to do is just get the right consistency of the paint and the color you want. So, keeping in mind, of course, that when the paint dries, it will darken. So, you want to make it always a little bit lighter than the color you see with your eyes. Now, let's find the right paintbrush. I don't want anything to be too wide. Hopefully this will do it. So, I'm going to wet that. Actually, I might use the same brush I used for the red as well. I'm not sure which of these two brushes. They're very close in thickness to one another. I'll just switch over here. So you can see they're just about the same size. Seems like this one here is a little bit longer than this one. But thickness-wise, they look very much the same. So, okay. Not too sure which one to use. We'll just take this one here. And like before, I'll come over again back to camera number 1 and we'll blend these two colors together. There we go. I'll get closer to my little jar of water here. And actually, I'm going to use the brush that's in here that I forgot yesterday because it's a lot wider and it will go faster to do the blending. So let's just do the white with a little bit of purple first, because the purple is very overwhelming. Actually, I'm going to blend this a little bit away from this glob of purple, which looks like I put way too much, but it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to blend this first to get the right consistency, the right texture that I like. And then I'll bring in more purple because that's going to be way too light. So let's just work this first. Get the water out of the brush as much as possible. Let's add a little more water, because we're going to want this to glide very easily on the canvas as well. And yet we do want it to be nice and opaque. So, and now I'll just bring in a little bit more purple. Bring everything from the edges and into the middle. Just like that. Now, I'm looking at my purple plants, which is basically like right here. So this is awfully light. So maybe I'll just add there we go, just a little bit more of this beautiful purple. There we go, just stir everything in together as though we were making icing for a cake. Get rid of this excess paint that I have on my brush. Okay. Now I guess I'll bring the other brush that we're going to be using and use that to do the final blending. So I'm still not sure if this is going to be too light or not. I am going to just darken it again with just a little bit more purple. Now I do have to remember it will darken as it dries, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, as I mentioned in every one of my streams. Okay, so this looks pretty good, doesn't it? Is this going to be the right color? I think it is. So let me just move the camera up to our plant here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Salut, ça va? Ouais, ça fait longtemps. And then I'll just check the purple with the purple. And this looks like it's going to be, I think it'll be okay. So why don't we do that? Oh shit, I put my hand right in there, got some red paint. Got some red paint right here, which is no big deal because all we have to do is just get a cloth, a little bit of spit, and then we can just wipe it off. Just like that. One of the nice things of acrylic paints is that if you catch it before it dries, it just wipes off very easily. So let me start off with this then. I'm going to move the camera to the side a little bit more, like that I'm sure I won't be in front of the lens. I'm always worried about that. So very good. Feels like it's a little thick. I just added a little bit of water to it. There we go. Very cool. Very good. All right. I'll move the camera back so you can see the whole thing. There we go. There we go. I'm going to add a little more water again so that it flows a little bit smoother, better, whatever. There we go. Okay. And then there will be some darker that's going to go on there later. But for now, that's what we want. I'm going to come up here and tackle that center plant on the top there. I'll just zoom in a little bit for that. Get the camera in the right spot if possible. Maybe, again, move it to the side, even though it distorts the whole thing a little bit for you, for the camera, but yet I won't be in the way, and that is more important. So let's continue. See, the fact of adding just a little bit of water made the whole thing so much easier for me to paint with. The paint glides a little bit better. So apparently I had it a little too thick when I mixed it on camera. There we go, that should do it. Get these. There we go, get the right movement. There, that's how I like it, when it just glides on and all you have is just the movement. Just like that. There we go. Very good. There we go. All right, very good. Of course, the whole look of these leaves will change again when I add the black outline to these plants. There we go. I guess I need my chair for that. I'll bring that over here. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water as well right here. So I have the same fluidity as I had a few seconds ago. There we go. And let's go back up here. That's pretty good. And I think I'm going to play some music. You know, why not? Let's have some music while I'm doing this. Like that, I won't have to talk so much. And this is my friend Diego on the violin, Lucien on the drum, and Jacek on the guitar. So strangely enough, I can't hear the music on the monitors. I hope it's working. I'm just going to continue and assume that you guys can hear the music. Another quirk of the program, I guess. There's nothing I can do about it at this stage. What I can do, though, is go over to the computer and take a look at the monitor, at the VU meter, and see at least if the music is playing, and apparently I guess it is playing. So I just can't hear it, but no big deal. I'll just suffer through my painting. No, just kidding, of course. Okay, there we go. Just get my hair in the paint. Okay, so I'm going to just come back to the camera, stop the music. Thanks for the music, boys. And so, very good, that's taking shape. And we're basically going to do the same thing with the green. Now I'm just taking a second to think because I like using two tones, a darker and a lighter green. And I think I'm going to, well, I'm going to start off, I think, with the darker green. No, well, start off maybe with the lighter green, and then I'll add the darker green later, though it's, I think, more correct to start with the dark and go with the light. But I do everything backwards, apparently. So let me just take a second here and think this out. Yeah, I'm going to start with the light green, and I'll just add a little bit of shading of the darker green afterwards. Afterwards, meaning maybe not today because the paint won't be dry, but maybe tomorrow. So here is the green, the white. Make this green lighter, I guess. Just going to think this out one more second here. Yeah, okay. Okay. There we go. So let's get a little palette. Here's my green palette from yesterday. So again, I'll put the green on one side, and then I'll add some white to it. First, I'll clean off my knife, make sure I don't get any green inside the white paint. There we go. So again, I don't have that much of a surface, so I don't need all that much. I hate wasting my paint because it costs so damn much. Everything is so expensive, especially paint brushes. So you'll say they'll last forever. It's true. I have paint brushes here that I use that are probably 30 years old, if not more, because I have been painting for about 40 years. I actually started to paint in 1981. So I can say I've painted my whole life. So I'm going to need a much narrower brush for this. This looks like a beautiful brush that will do the trick. We will blend this in together like we did for the other colors. So let me just get things, there we go, like that. Push everything a little bit around. Make some room. And I'm going to, like before, use a wider brush to do the mixing. And we'll do that together on camera number 1. I'll just switch over. There we go. And I'll bring this down here. There we go. Let me just move that back. That it won't be. Gives me a little flexibility with the camera. So let's get the white paint in the texture that we want, like before. And then we'll bring in the green afterwards. I'm going to again find that right creamy little texture, right consistency so it glides like it did for the purple paint. There we go. And let's bring in a little bit of the green in. There we go. Maybe a little more. There we go. Blend it in. I guess it's still a little light. I'm going to add a little green. There we go. A little more green. That just reminds me of all these kind of like candy of some sorts. Nice pastel colors. Now, let me just check this out with our leaves and see if it's not too light. Well, it is a lot lighter. Should I make it a little darker? I'm not sure. Maybe I will. Why not? Let's zoom back here. And I'll just also grab a little bit of water. There we go. And just make it a little bit darker. Why not? Let's make sure it's all nicely well blended. The colors are nice and homogeneous. I'll move everything down below here. There we go. So that our green doesn't start changing as we get further into the painting. There we go. So that looks just like the right color. I have a feeling just it did like with the purple, it might be a little thick. So I might as well just add a little more water right away so that the paint flows beautifully on the canvas. And that all I have to do is just have it glide with the paintbrush and I don't have to think about it and I can let my mind drift. You know, that's what the painting's all about, a form of meditation. As they say in Latin, ne tentes aut perficie, do not attempt unless you perfection. So, there we go. Anything you do with a high concentration is a form of meditation anyway. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to switch paintbrushes again because this paintbrush, so you do have the shine from the window. I'm moving everything around to see if you can see that green. But even I have the reflection of the window, makes it very glossy. So I'm going to bring this back up. I'm going to zoom in towards these leaves up here. And I'm going to switch cameras for a few seconds just so I can get back to my thinner paintbrush. There we go. Yeah, I think this is going to be the right size. If it's not, I will switch paintbrushes. And those are the three things you need to be careful of for painting to go smoothly and to be fun. You have to make sure that the paint is the right consistency, that you have the right paintbrush size, and that you're in a comfortable position to paint. You know, you don't want to bend over or be on your tiptoes or stretch to your left or your right. You want to have total control, and to have total control, you have to basically be in a very comfortable position, either sitting down or standing up, whatever. So, since I am right-handed, I'm going to start on that upper left-hand side, work my way down so I don't put my hands in the paint like I usually do. I'll just zoom in a little bit more with the camera. All I have to do is remember to zoom out, which I kind of tend to forget once in a while. But not today, we're right on it. Okay, so let's switch to the camera number 1 and let's start doing these details. There we go. Okay, so I am going to stop right there, come back over here because this paintbrush obviously is not giving me the control that I want. I think it's just a little bit too big. So I'm just going to pop in and find one that is slightly smaller and that I will be able to control better. There we go. Let's try this one. Now, in the past, I would have probably continued with that brush and like bitch through the whole thing. I have learned to be less lazy and to switch paintbrushes when I have to. So I'm improving really, because I do have a tendency once I start having a hard time stopping. So anyways, so let's hope I have the right paintbrush this time. And we'll tackle this guy right here. Yes, and you see right away, you can tell that this is the right brush because it just glides where you want it to go and gives the right thickness that you want. And here I screwed up again, putting my hand in the purple. Fortunately, a little bit of saliva does the trick. So, very nice, very good. So why don't I go back and play some music again, even though I won't hear it, but still. remembered about the camera at the right moment. Trying to be careful not to put my hand in the purple paint, which is right there. It's still wet, of course. There we go. Then we'll move in, as well move my camera in. We're going to do this guy right here. And I'm going to move the camera over so I'm not in front of the lens. Oops, there we go. I don't want to make you seasick. This is just about dry, right? This is what we did earlier. The red paint right below, I guess you can't see it. But anyways, just add a little bit of water to my green paint here, make it. There we go. So, let's do this. To do, but I'm just going to leave it for now. So very good, very good. Again, it looks a little weird because you have the shine of the window on it. But when it's all dry, it'll be fine. And then we're going to come over because we do have some more leaves right down there. So we are going to tackle those as well. I am just going to switch over, grab my chair. Oops. There we go. So add a little more water here to my green paint. Mix it up a little bit here. There we go. And I'll start way up here first. Very cool, very nice. There we go. There. Okay, very good. Let me pull this baby back. Switch over to this camera here. And I'll put number 1 back in its place. Go back here. There you go. And I am going to step back and try to think what I'm going to do next. I'm also going to grab a little bit of water. So I did stop the music, right? I guess so. Okay. So I'm looking on the computer, figure out what I'm doing, because it gives me it's as though I was further back from the canvas because of the lens of the webcam. Okay, very good, very good. So we're going to tackle the red now. And this is just about dry, which is a good sign that summer is coming. Hey, can't wait, because when it's warm, everything dries so much quicker. It's still extremely damp in this building. Now you have to remember, I'm in the old part of Nice, and these buildings were built. This building that I'm in now was built before the United States became independent. I mean, that's how old this building is, built in the 1600s. So there is no heat at all in the building. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? When you think about Europe and the United States, like just about every monument in this in these countries are like older than even the United States was discovered. So that cracks me up every time, especially when you remind Americans of that little detail. There we go. So I just added some that dark red paint because I'm going to put a second coat on these two guys that we did earlier today, and then we'll put the details on these on the red, and we'll take it from there. So again, for this, I am not going to go over to the other camera. I'm just going to do this very quickly, dilute the paint so it's like a nice texture. Again, I'm not sure if I put enough paint in here. Those second coats usually take a lot less paint than the first coat, but I don't want to have a reputation of being stingy either. Let me just add a little more water, and we'll stir it up. Little darling, stir it up. There, this should be okay. Maybe just one more drop of water, just to make sure I don't run out of paint. This should do it very easily, very nice. So I'm going to start off over here and put this second coat, which is basically to hide all the brush strokes that I can see. Of course, on the camera, you can't really see them, but where I'm standing, you can. So let me just get the camera back here, just so we can all share, like putting dark red on dark red, and you won't be able to see much, but what the heck, that's the way it goes. There we go. Do this very quickly without being sloppy, of course. There we go. This is a beautiful red. It's a cadmium deep hue. Cadmium red deep hue. I don't think I've ever used it before. I have a lot of these paints that I never use. I kind of basically always use the same colors in my paintings, even though there are a lot of colors. I do love colors. And I think it all dates back to when I was in my late teens and early 20s, and being part of that generation that dropped a lot of LSD and acid and all that stuff. In particular, the LSD 25, which was a color enhancing psychedelic drug at the time. And I do remember it as though it was yesterday. It did enhance colors, for sure. But anyways. Those were the days. There we go. They give you the option when you're streaming of deciding if these streams are okay for children or not. And I obviously always say no, like that I can swear. Then I can talk about these kind of things like drugs and whatever without having to worry about influencing those poor little kids or sensitive adults. Okay, so we got the second coat of the dark red. Got that together. Now what are we going to do? How am I going to highlight these leaves? Because I don't think, well, I'm going to try just adding a little bit of white paint to this red, but I have a feeling I'm not going to like what the result. So I'm still going to try it. Get a little knife here, just try a little bit of this white on the side and see what it gives. And for this, I'll do it together. We can go over back to camera number 1 and we can decide if we're going to do our highlights with this color or not. So let me just come over back. Whoops, forgot to switch cameras. There we go. I'll bring this baby down here. So here's our deep red and the white. So let's see what kind of a pink it's going to give us. Yeah, it's just going to give us some sort of a magenta, right? Or not really a magenta, but some sort of a magenta purple, no? What would you call that? Okay, so let's check out these other colors that I had in mind. I'll come back over here. I was thinking maybe of going with this here. What is this called? Perm Red Violet Light. Perm Red Violet Light. So I'm going to put some on that little palette. I'm going to come back to camera number 1 and we can compare these two colors and then decide what we're going to use. So let's go back here. I'll bring this down again. So here's the other color that I was going to use that I had in mind. And it's awfully close, isn't it? Well, a little bit different, of course. So I don't know if you can really tell the difference. This one obviously is the white and that dark red. And this one, of course, which is a lot more magenta pinkish, which kind of looks nice on the red as well. I wish there wasn't the shine of the outdoors so you could see it, but there's that. So I don't know. I don't know. And in fact, you know what? This is totally crazy, but in fact, I'm looking at these leaves. And let's go back to these leaves on the upper right-hand side because that's probably where I'd be starting. But I'm looking at these leaves, and I think I'm going to do the highlights in white. Screw these reds and pinks. And I can see white on that, something like that. Improvise with a nice white, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to think about it, not going to hesitate. For some reason, I see it like that. So let me just get my white out here. I use the cover of my jar of white. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for my knife. Where am I here? Okay, I'm still stuck on the other camera. So I'll come back to this one. And I'm just going to add a little bit of white right here. I'm going to rinse this off. There we go. Put the knife away. And I am going to use the same brush as I used for the green leaves because I had really nice control over it. But for that, I am going to have to, first of all, find it. What did I do with it? Then I put it back here. No, I didn't. Oh, here it is. Okay. So for that, I'm going to have to go wash it. So I'm going to switch over. I'm going to go back here into my kitchen area. You can follow me as I do this. It's just going to take a few seconds. And I'm going to wash these brushes off. And the whole point is to share what goes on in the studio. And the washing of the brushes is a major occurrence. It's part of what we do. I have soap, I have water. Let's just clean these brushes off. There we go. There we go. Another brush. I got just two more to do. But they're very small. Clean very easily. I am kind of brutal with them because I don't want the paint to cake up where the hairs and the wood match. Where they meet, I should say. There we go. There. Okay, all done. Happy brushes, all clean. Fresh water. Just move all this crap out of the way. Right here. Let's put everything away. Get organized. There we go. So, very good. I'll put this baby back. Where are we going to go? We're going to go up here on the upper right-hand corner. So I'm just going to lay you here. Bring you up here, I guess, out of the way. And I'll zoom you in a little bit. There we go. So, got that together. Got this together. And like before, whoops, let me get this out of the way as well. I'm going to grab this larger brush just to get the paint, the white paint, to be the right texture. And then I'll switch over to this thinner brush for the actual painting. So again, we want to keep this nice and opaque, but yet the right kind of texture so a paint will glide the way it should, just to make us happy. There we go. Just a little bit more. So I was watching and I noticed as I'm always looking to perfection and figure out my this program I'm using, OBS Streamlabs. This is the program I use to stream on YouTube and Facebook Live. So I'm always trying to improve. So I look at all these video kids, who like stream and play their games and know all this stuff really well. And I noticed in the last few days that a lot of them use Spotify, the music from Spotify as their streaming. Now, I know that I've been hassled before on YouTube for copyright reasons, and I'm just wondering if, for some reason, if you show the song and who's playing it, in a little box on the lower right-hand corner as you're streaming with the music from Spotify, if that works or will you get banned? Now, why do these kids who stream like that with Spotify don't get banned? It must be because it's tolerated. So I'm looking into that more and more. Now, to admit it, I did go and I did see on Spotify that they said no, it was not permitted. So that's why I don't do it but I still don't understand why the kids would stream and do it and they can get away with it. So I'm going to look into that a little more because maybe there's a loophole of something that if you show who's playing or whatever, who the musician is and what the song title is, maybe it's permitted in that situation. I don't know. Like I say, I'm going to look into it a little more. In the meantime, I'm going to come up to these little plants right here, and I'm going to add my white paint. Okay, I am taking a second to think this out because it's very nice to chatter nonstop like I'm doing, but I also have to think about what I'm doing as well and try to see the finished product in my head. So yeah, I'm going to do the white, and maybe I'll just do some highlights of one of those pinks or reds later. Okay, so let's go for it. So where are we? We're back on camera number 1. Okay, I want to keep this nice and thick because I obviously don't want to do 2 coats if possible. There we go. So I've never done this either. Never used white on red before. This is a first as well. There we go. Okay, I don't know if the red is going to show through once it dries. Once the white paint dries, will the red show through it? I have no idea since I've never done this before. We'll figure this out tomorrow when everything is dry. So, there we go. I am going to step back for a second, take a look, and see what that does. And I must say, it is a little strange, but I don't dislike it. I am just going to whiten to hide a little bit of the red that is spewing over the white, because I don't think I'll be doing any black edges to this stuff. I'm just going to leave it white like that. So there we go. And I see like right here, I can already see through it. So I might have to tomorrow put like a little second coat of this white, but we'll worry about that tomorrow. Right now we are going to come down and check out that baby right there. So like usual, I'm going to move that over. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to have to get my chair. And we're going to tackle this as well. So am I in the way? Apparently not. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad, I guess. Whoops, there we go. I mean, it is enjoyable to paint with music. And I'm very grateful to my friends who have lent me their music so I could stream and not be worried about YouTube and, you know, owners' rights and whatever. But sometimes, you know, you just want a different kind of music, music you enjoy. I wouldn't mind like listening to some Grateful Dead jams as I'm painting. It would always be nice. That's true. YouTube is really. Now I believe, like, if I had 1 million followers and viewers, okay, why not pay for the rights to music? But you know, when you have 0 or 1 or 2 followers, you know, why be such a hard ass for copyright reasons, right? After all, if you mention who the music is by, you would think that you're helping sell that music as well. Well, whatever. We wouldn't want these millionaires to get any poorer. These record labels. I mean, I made a little personal movie years ago when I went to the States with my 7-year-old son, and I made like a personal music, a private film that I just showed like my members of my family and the close friends that we visited while we were in the States. And I played music, you know, from the Gold Rush of Neil Young. And They cut the music out. They cut the whole the vocals of my film out when it was a private. It wasn't public. It was private. Actually, nobody would watch it. A music that's what, or over like 45, almost 50 years old, and they're still bitching because they want more money for it. Really? So there we go. There's our other little plants. And I'm going to step back here and see where we're at. Okay, very good. Very good. Things are starting to take shape. I have all this area here that I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I still don't, I have an idea, but I'm not quite positive exactly what I'm going to paint. I have an idea of these little flowers, but I think we'll worry about that tomorrow. It'll give me time to think about it. Then we'll do the details to the red plants tomorrow when the second coat is dry. And then we'll tackle either our main character or we'll tackle our cosmos. Then eventually we'll do the border. And hopefully it'll look okay when it's all done. Won't screw it up. But anyways, so I guess that comes to the conclusion of today's stream at least. So I'll just come over here. And like usual, I'm going to thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit different than usual because tomorrow is Thursday. And I always stream in French on Thursdays. And since I am in France and a lot of my friends are French, it only seemed logical. So, but it'll give you time to brush up on your French. So it's perfect. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with my schedule like usual and by saying, ciao mes amis.